The pregnancy test in our bathroom trash is positive, but I had a vasectomy 5 years ago after our third child was born. My hands shake as I pull it from beneath the tissues, the pink plus sign stark against white plastic. It still smells faintly of urine and that sharp chemical sense of betrayal. 5 years. 5 years since Dr. Morrison showed me the test results. 0 sperm count, Michael. You're officially sterile. The certificate sits in our filing cabinet, dated March 15th, 2019, right behind our tax returns. Sarah's in the shower. I can hear her humming that song from our wedding, At Last by Etta James. The same song she hummed the morning after each of our children was born. Emma, now 16. Julia, 12. Tommy, 8. 3 perfect children. 3 planned pregnancies. Then the vasectomy we both agreed on. The test feels heavier than it should, like it's made of lead instead of plastic. I set it on the marble counter, and it clicks against the surface. Such a small sound for something that's about to shatter 18 years. Dad? Emma stands in the doorway, her AP chemistry textbook clutched against her chest. Her eyes move from my face to the test on the counter. She's smart, my Emma. Too smart sometimes. Dad, why are you holding Mom's pregnancy test? The shower stops. The humming stops. Everything stops except my heart, which pounds so hard I'm sure Emma can hear it. Emma, sweetheart, go check on Tommy. Make sure he's doing his homework. But Dad, please. She backs away, but I see the question forming in her eyes. The same eyes as her mother's. Thank God she has my nose, my chin. Those little pieces of proof that she's mine. Sarah emerges from the bathroom, towel wrapped around her, steam following her like a ghost. She sees the test on the counter. Her face doesn't change, not really, but something flickers behind her eyes. Recognition, fear, guilt. We need to talk, I say. Michael, 5 years, Sarah, 5 years since the vasectomy. She sits on the bed, our bed, the bed where we conceived our 3 children. The towel slips slightly, revealing the small scar from her C-section with Tommy, a complicated birth. We almost lost them both. I held her hand for 16 hours, promised her we'd never go through that again, hence the vasectomy. It's not what you think, she whispers. Then what is it? Immaculate conception? It's worse. Those 2 words hang between us. Worse. Worse than an affair. Worse than betrayal. What could be worse? She stands, walks to her purse, that designer bag her sister Helen gave her last Christmas, and pulls out a folded piece of paper. An ultrasound. 14 weeks. The date stamp reads 2 months ago, when she was supposedly at that teaching conference in Denver. Michael, this isn't about us. It's about Helen. Helen? My sister-in-law's name tastes bitter. Helen, who's been trying to have a baby for 7 years. Helen, whose husband David makes $500,000 a year, but can't buy what they want most. Helen, who cried at Tommy's birthday party last month, had to leave when we brought out the cake. She can't. They've tried everything. IVF failed 5 times. 5 times, Michael. Do you know what that does to a woman? I'm looking at the ultrasound, at the little bean-shaped shadow that's growing inside my wife of 18 years. The woman who stood beside me at my father's funeral, who held my hand through my cancer scare, who promised to forsake all others. You're carrying Helen's baby? Sarah nods, tears streaming down her face. But I notice she doesn't reach for me, doesn't try to touch me. We always touch when we fight. It's our rule. Stay connected, even when we're angry. How is that even possible without... I stop. The fertility clinic brochure peeks out from her purse. Reproductive Associates of Connecticut, the same clinic where our friends Mark and Jennifer did their IVF. We already transferred the embryo 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks, I count backwards. Our anniversary dinner at Les Bernardins. She said she wasn't feeling well, went to bed early. I watched TV alone, assumed it was work stress. The bedroom door creaks, Tommy's small voice. Mommy? Daddy? Why are you yelling? Sarah grabs her robe, covers herself properly. We're not yelling, baby. Daddy and I are just talking. About Aunt Helen? Tommy asks, and my blood freezes. What about Aunt Helen, buddy? I keep my voice steady, but my hands are fists. She called yesterday when you were at work. She asked Mommy about the baby. Mommy cried happy tears. Happy tears? Sarah's been crying happy tears about a baby that isn't ours, that I didn't know existed, that's growing inside her while our son watches. Tommy, go finish your homework. I'll come check it in a minute. Grace is thriving, 6 months old, chubby, bright-eyed. Helen glows with motherhood. David looks at his daughter like she hung the moon. We're moving, Helen tells us privately. David got a job offer in Seattle. When? Sarah asks, and I hear the pain. Next month. It's better this way. Distance will help. Will it? Sarah's crying now. It has to. They leave on a Tuesday. Sarah takes the day off, watches their car disappear down our street. I hold her while she cries, grieving a daughter who was never hers. We did the right thing, she says. Did we? They're happy. Look. She shows me Helen's Instagram. Grace at the Space Needle. New beginning, fresh start. What about us? Do we get a fresh start? Sarah looks at me. Do you want one? I want to want one. That's something. Emma leaves for Colombia in August. We drive her together, car loaded with memories and mini fridge. Her dorm room is tiny, but has a view of the Hudson. You'll be okay? She asks, and I know she's not talking about empty nest syndrome. We'll figure it out, I tell her. Dad, can I say something? Always. What Mom did was wrong. The lying, the secret, all wrong. But also kinda beautiful. She literally grew life for someone who couldn't. That's either crazy or heroic. Can it be both? I guess, just don't give up on her or on us. Never. Julia makes the travel soccer team. Tommy discovers dinosaurs aren't real and has an existential crisis. Sarah and I navigate coexistence that slowly becomes partnership again. On our anniversary, 19 years, Sarah hands me an envelope. What's this? Open it. Inside are tickets to New Zealand. 2 weeks, just us. We can't afford this. Helen and David sent money, said it was the least they could do. We can't accept. We can. We did. The kids will stay with Mom. Your mother who knew? My mother who loves us and made a mistake. I look at the tickets. Departure in 3 weeks. Time to plan, to prepare, to decide. Okay. We don't leave, remember? We stay, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Sarah kisses me then. First real kiss in almost a year. Tastes like forgiveness and future. 2 weeks before the trip, we have a family photo taken. Professional photographer, everyone in coordinating, but not matching outfits. The photographer arranges us, parents in back, kids in front. There's a space where another child could fit. We all see it, but no one mentions it. Smile, the photographer commands. We do. And for the first time in a year, it's not forced. The photo sits on our mantle now. 5 people who chose to stay together despite secrets and lies and babies that weren't ours. You can see the space where Grace might have been, but also how we've closed ranks around it, not erasing her, just defining our borders. Helen sends photos monthly. Grace crawling, walking, first word. Kitty, not mama. Helen's mock devastation, clear even in text. Sarah keeps them in a box labeled family, but separate from our albums. Regrets? I ask one night, watching Sarah look through them. No, you? No, but also yes. I wish you trusted me enough to tell me. I wish I'd been brave enough to risk it. What would you have done if I'd said no? Sarah considers. I don't know. Maybe respected it, maybe resented it, maybe done it anyway. And we'd be here regardless. No, she says. We're here because you stayed, because you chose us over anger. We chose each other. We chose our children. We chose our family. Tommy appears in the doorway, dinosaur pajamas and bedhead. Can't sleep. Bad dream? Sarah asks. No, just thinking. About what, buddy? Do you think Grace will remember us? I don't know, I answer honestly. I hope she does. We're her family too, right? Even if she lives far away. Right, Sarah and I say together. Cool, can I have a snack? Normal. Beautifully, boringly normal. Later, in bed, Sarah curved against me like she has for 20 years. I think about families, how they break and mend, how secrets are scars that fade but never disappear, how love isn't just feeling, but choosing, every day, to stay. Michael? Sarah whispers in the dark. Yeah? Thank you. For what? For not leaving, even when you should have, even when anyone would have understood. We don't leave, I repeat our new mantra, our rebuilt foundation. We stay, she completes it. Outside, the world spins with other families' dramas, other secrets growing in the dark. But here, in our bed, in our house, with our 3 children safe in their rooms and a 4th living across the country, with parents who desperately wanted her, we've found our way back to us. Not the same us. That couple died the day I found the pregnancy test. But maybe this new us, scarred, wiser, more careful with each other's hearts. Maybe we're stronger, or maybe we're just stubborn. Either way, we're here. We stayed. He disappears, but I know he'll tell his sisters. They share everything, my kids. No secrets between them. Unlike their parents, apparently. My phone buzzes. Sarah's sister calling. Helen's photo appears on the screen. Her and David at their vow renewal last year. Both smiling, both hiding the pain of another failed IVF cycle. I let it go to voicemail. She's calling you now? I ask. We talk every day. About the pregnancy. About the baby. Michael, please understand. Understand that you made a decision that affects our entire family without even telling me? That you're pregnant with another couple's child, and I'm supposed to just understand. Sarah opens her mouth to respond, but my phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from Helen. Please don't hate her. This was my idea. We're family. Family. The word sits heavy in the room. How? I finally ask. How did you do this without medical clearance, without my consent? Sarah, this is illegal in Connecticut. She pulls out more papers from her purse, that bottomless purse that apparently holds all her secrets. Contracts, unsigned. Medical forms with forged signatures. My signature, but not my handwriting. We were going to make it legal after it was too late to stop. You forged my signature? Helen did. She said you'd never agree if you knew, that you'd worry about me, about the risks. But Michael, I've done this before, 3 times. My body knows how to do this. Your body. What about our marriage? What about our children? The phone rings again. This time it's David, Helen's husband. I silence it, but the damage is done. They're all calling now, all in on this secret. Sarah's phone lights up with texts. I can see them from here. Mom, stay strong, sweetheart. Helen. Is he taking it okay? Someone named Dr. Martinez. Confirming your appointment tomorrow at 10. Who else knows? My voice is deadly quiet now. My family, Helen and David, obviously. The doctor at the clinic, she's Helen's friend from college. Your mother knows? Sarah nods. How long has your mother known? Since before we did it. She helped us plan. I stand up so fast the room spins. Margaret, my mother-in-law, who watches our kids every Tuesday, who brings Sunday dinner, who hugged me last week and said I look tired, that I should take better care of myself. She knew my wife was pregnant with another man's child, and she hugged me. Emma appears in the doorway again, Julia behind her. They've been listening. Of course they have. The walls in this 100-year-old house hide nothing. Mom? Julia's voice is small. Are you having another baby? Sarah looks at me, pleading, but I can't. I can't lie to my children. Not when their mother has been lying to all of us. Yes, Sarah says. But it's complicated. Is it Daddy's? Emma asks, and the question is a knife. The silence stretches until Tommy appears, drawn by the gravity of family crisis. He's carrying his drawing from school, the one I was supposed to sign. My family, written in crayon across the top. There we are, 5 stick figures holding hands in front of our house. But now there's something else, a small circle drawn in Sarah's stick figure belly. Tommy, I whisper, when did you draw that? Today. Mrs. Peterson said to draw our families. Mommy's tummy has been getting bigger, like when Julia was in there. The room tilts. My 8-year-old son noticed what I didn't, saw what I was too trusting to see. Kids, go to your rooms, I manage. Mom and I need to talk. Are you getting divorced? Julia asks, and her voice breaks on the word. No, Sarah says quickly. We don't know, I say at the same time. The children file out, Tommy clutching his drawing, Emma shepherding the younger ones with a maturity that breaks my heart. She looks back at me once, and in her eyes I see my own father's disappointment when my first marriage fell apart. But Emma's only 16. She shouldn't have that look yet. When they're gone, Sarah reaches for me, finally. Her hand hovers near mine, not quite touching. Michael, I love you. This doesn't change that. Doesn't it? You're carrying another man's child, Sarah. David's child. Helen's child. It's Helen's egg, David's sperm. I'm just the vessel. You're my wife, the mother of my children, not a vessel. My phone buzzes again. This time, it's my mother. Word travels fast in our family. Or should I say, their family. Because clearly, I'm not really part of it. Not enough to know my wife is pregnant. When is it due? I ask. February 14th. Valentine's Day, of course. The universe has a sick sense of humor. Our anniversary is February 21st. I know. Were you planning to tell me before or after our romantic dinner? She doesn't answer, but I see the truth in her face. She wasn't going to tell me at all. Not until it was obvious. Not until Tommy and the rest of the world could see what I was too blind to notice. The conference in Denver. The embryo transfer. The teacher's workshop last month. First prenatal appointment. Your book club last Tuesday. Ultrasound. Each lie lands like a physical blow. 18 years of marriage reduced to a litany of deceptions. I need some air, I say. Michael, please, let me explain everything. Helen, she's desperate. The last IVF nearly killed her. The hormones, the procedures. Her body can't take any more. But they have 3 frozen embryos left. 3 chances at being parents. So you decided to be their surrogate, without telling me, without asking me, without considering how this would affect our children. I'm doing this for family. No. The word comes out harder than I intended. You're doing this to our family. I grab my keys, my wallet, the vasectomy certificate from the filing cabinet. Evidence, proof that whatever's growing inside my wife isn't mine. Where are you going? To think, to figure out if our marriage survives this. Michael, I'm 14 weeks pregnant. It's too late to... I know it's too late. That was your plan, wasn't it? Wait until it was too late for me to have any say. She starts crying then, real tears, not the happy tears she's been sharing with Helen. But I can't comfort her. Not when I don't know if those tears are for our marriage or for getting caught. As I reach the door, Emma calls from upstairs. Dad? I stop but don't turn around. Yes, sweetheart. Tommy asked why Mommy cries when she looks at Aunt Helen's photos. My hand freezes on the doorknob, Sarah's sharp intake of breath behind me. What photos, Emma? The ones in Mom's drawer, of Aunt Helen and Uncle David. She looks at them every night after you go to bed. The revelation sits cold in my stomach. My wife goes to bed with me, waits for me to fall asleep, then pulls out photos of her sister and brother-in-law while their baby grows inside her. This isn't just about helping family. This is something else entirely. I drive for 2 hours before I call James, my best friend since college. He's a lawyer now, corporate mostly. But he knows people. He answers on the second ring. Mike, it's 11 p.m. Sarah's pregnant. Congratulations. I thought you had... I did. Vasectomy 5 years ago. The baby isn't mine. Silence. Then, Jesus, who is it? It's complicated. Can you meet me? I'm calling Thompson, criminal defense attorney. We'll meet you at his office in an hour. Criminal. The word makes this real in a way nothing else has. Thompson's office smells like leather and old coffee. He's maybe 60, gray at the temples, the kind of lawyer who's seen everything. But when I lay out the story, the forged signatures, the secret surrogacy, the family conspiracy, even he looks surprised. In Connecticut, surrogacy agreements must be pre-authorized. Both spouses must consent. What your wife did? He pulls out a thick legal book, flips through pages. This could be prosecuted as fraud and child trafficking. Child trafficking. My wife could go to prison. My children's mother could go to prison. I don't want to prosecute her. I just want to understand my rights. Your rights? Thompson leans back. You have the right to divorce, the right to file charges, the right to sue the clinic for accepting forged documents. But Mr. Collins, once that baby is born, if your name is on the birth certificate, why would my name be on it? You're the legal husband. Unless you contest paternity before birth, you're presumed to be the father, even with your vasectomy certificate. But the biological father is David, Helen's husband. Can you prove that? They did IVF. There must be records. Thompson shakes his head. Not if they did this off the books, not if the clinic was complicit. You said the doctor was Helen's friend? I nod, feeling sick. Then documentation might be selective. James, who's been quiet, finally speaks. Mike, you need to get ahead of this. Document everything. Record conversations if you can. Connecticut is a one-party consent state. Record my wife? Your wife who committed fraud, who's carrying another man's child without your knowledge or consent. I leave Thompson's office with a retainer agreement I can't afford, and advice I don't want to follow, but I turn on my phone's recording app when I get home, just in case. The house is quiet, kids asleep. Sarah's in bed, but the light under the door tells me she's awake. I don't go in. Instead, I head to the kitchen, where I find Margaret, my mother-in-law, sitting at our table with a cup of tea. We need to talk, she says. I hit record on my phone, set it on the counter face down. You knew. It's not a question. I helped plan it. The admission is so casual it takes my breath away. Why? Margaret looks older in our kitchen light. 73 years old, grandmother to 3, soon to be grandmother to... What? What is this baby to her? Helen is dying inside, Michael. Each failed IVF took a piece of her. The last one, she took pills. Too many pills. David found her in time, but barely. So Sarah decided to risk our marriage instead. Sarah decided to save her sister's life. We all did. The whole family. Everyone knew except me. We thought you'd stop her. There it is. The confession that cuts deepest. They knew I'd object, knew I'd fight this, so they simply excluded me from my own marriage, from my own family. How long have you been planning this? Margaret pulls out her phone, shows me a WhatsApp group. Project Baby. 23 members. Sarah's brothers, their wives, cousins I've had Thanksgiving with. Aunts who sent our kids birthday cards. Messages going back 2 years. 2 years. You've been planning this since before Tommy started school? The first year was just research, finding the right clinic, the right doctor. Helen had to harvest more eggs, create more embryos. Then Sarah had to get her body ready. Get ready? What does that mean? Margaret looks uncomfortable for the first time. She went off birth control 18 months ago, started taking prenatal vitamins, did testing to make sure she could carry safely. 18 months. We'd been using condoms for 18 months because Sarah said the pill was giving her headaches. I accepted it, trusted her, bought economy boxes of Trojans like an idiot while she was preparing her body for another couple's baby. The money? I ask, remembering our suddenly tight budget. Sarah's insistence we postpone our kitchen renovation. IVF is expensive, even with David's insurance. The transfer alone was $15,000. $15,000 of whose money? Margaret doesn't answer, but she doesn't need to. I know where our savings went now. Why Sarah insisted we wait another year for Julia's braces. Why she's been buying generic groceries. Tommy's college fund? Just borrowed. Helen will pay it back triple when the baby's born. You used our 8-year-old's college fund for this? For family, Michael. Family takes care of family. I'm family, the words explode out of me. I'm her husband. Those are my children sleeping upstairs. We're family. Margaret stands, gathers her coat. You're right. You are family. Which is why we knew you'd eventually understand. Understand what? That my wife would rather carry her sister's baby than be honest with me? That sometimes love means sacrifice. Whose sacrifice? Sarah's or mine? She pauses at the door. Everyone's, Michael. That's what makes it love. After she leaves, I sit in the dark kitchen, staring at the WhatsApp messages on her phone. She'd left it unlocked, probably intentionally. 2 years of planning, photos of Helen's eggs being harvested, Sarah's temperature charts, ovulation predictors, a whole secret life documented in blue and white bubbles. One message from Sarah 6 months ago catches my eye. Practice the conversation with M again. Still can't find the right words. She'd practiced telling me, multiple times, but never actually did it. Another from Helen. Thank you for being the sister I need, not the one I deserve. And from David, 3 weeks ago, the transfer worked. We're going to be parents. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for giving us what I couldn't give Helen. What he couldn't give Helen, because David's the infertile one, not Helen. I scroll up further, find medical documents. Helen's eggs are perfect. Her uterus is fine. But David, 0 sperm count. Like me. Except he was born that way. No vasectomy to reverse. No chance ever. My phone buzzes. Sarah texting from upstairs. Please come to bed. We need to talk. I climb the stairs, each step heavy, past Tommy's room, see his nightlight casting dinosaur shadows on the wall. Julia's door with her keep out sign. Emma helped her make. Emma's room, light still on, probably reading. Sarah's sitting up in bed, surrounded by papers, more medical documents, more secrets. I wanted to show you everything, she says. No more hiding. I sit on the edge of the bed, our bed, but it feels like a stranger's furniture now. Show me. She spreads out ultrasounds, blood tests, genetic panels. The baby is healthy, a girl. Helen wants to name her Grace. Grace, already named, already a person, already loved by everyone but me. When did you find out it was a girl? Last week. Helen was there. We cried together. You cried with Helen about her daughter while I thought you were at book club. Yes. At least she's not lying now. Small comfort. What else should I know? Sarah pulls out a legal document. David and Helen's will. If something happens to them, they want us to raise Grace. They want the woman who carried her to raise her. They want family to raise her. I look at the will, dated 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I didn't even know my wife was pregnant, and Helen and David were already planning for us to potentially raise their child. What about our kids? How do we explain this to them? They're smart. They'll understand Aunt Helen needed help. Will they understand why Mommy lied? Why everyone lied? Sarah touches her stomach, barely showing, but now that I know, I can see it. The slight roundness that wasn't there in summer. I feel her moving, she whispers. Started last week. Little flutters, like butterfly wings. Sarah, I know you're angry. You have every right. But Michael, this is happening. In 5 months, Helen and David will have their baby, and we'll go back to normal. Normal? You think we can go back to normal? We have to, for the kids. I stand up, walk to our dresser. In the bottom drawer, under my winter sweaters, I find them. The photos Emma mentioned. Helen and David, smiling, holding negative pregnancy tests, IVF failure letters, adoption rejections. A catalog of heartbreak my wife has been studying in secret. How long have you been in love with the idea of saving them? Sarah's quiet for so long, I think she won't answer. Since Helen's third miscarriage, she called me at 2 a.m., bleeding and crying. David was traveling. I drove her to the hospital, held her hand while they confirmed what she already knew. She looked at me and said, "Why can you make babies so easily when all I want is one?" And I didn't have an answer. So, you decided to make her one. I decided to share what I had, what we had, the ability to create life, without asking me, because you would have said no. You don't know that. Michael, you had a vasectomy. You literally had surgery to stop creating life. How could I ask you to help create one for someone else? The logic is twisted, but I can follow it. In Sarah's mind, my vasectomy was proof I'd never agree, so she never asked. I need to know something, I say, and I need the truth. Anything? Are all 3 of our children mine? The question lands like a bomb. Sarah's face goes white, then red. How can you ask that? You've been lying for 2 years, maybe longer. I need to know. They're yours, all 3. How could you doubt that? Because I didn't doubt this either. And look where we are. I pull out my phone, show her what I ordered an hour ago. 3 DNA test kits, overnight shipping. You're going to test our children? I'm going to know the truth, all of it. Sarah starts crying again, but these tears feel different. Angry tears. Go ahead, test them, test yourself. Test every moment of the last 18 years. But when those tests come back, proving what you already know, that you're their father, what then? Will you finally trust me again? I don't know. That's not good enough, Michael. Our children need to know their parents are solid. Their parents aren't solid. Their mother is pregnant with their cousin, while their father processes being lied to for 2 years. It's not a lie. It's a secret, omission, surprise. What word makes you feel better about it? Before she can answer, there's a knock on our door. Emma enters without waiting for permission, Julia and Tommy behind her. "We can hear you," Emma says simply. "The whole neighborhood can probably hear you." They stand there in their pajamas, Emma in her dad's old Columbia t-shirt, Julia in her rainbow unicorn onesie she's almost outgrown, Tommy clutching his stuffed T-Rex. "Is Mom having Aunt Helen's baby?" Julia asks. Sarah and I look at each other. No more lies. "Yes," I say. "But how?" Tommy asks. "Babies come from mommies and daddies who love each other." "It's complicated, buddy," I start, but Emma cuts me off. IVF, in vitro fertilization. We learned about it in AP Bio. Aunt Helen's egg, Uncle David's sperm, Mom's uterus. "Emma," Sarah gasps. "What? You want me to pretend I don't understand? I'm 16, not 6. "But I'm 8, Tommy says, confused. "What's a uterus?" "It's where babies grow inside mommies," Julia explains, ever the middle child, bridging the gap. "So the baby is Aunt Helen's but growing in mommy?" "Yes," Sarah says. "Like when we planted Grandma's tomatoes in our garden," Tommy asks. The comparison is so innocent, so pure, it breaks something in me. "Sort of," I manage. "Will the baby live with us?" Julia asks. "No, she'll live with Aunt Helen and Uncle David." "She?" Tommy perks up. "It's a girl?" "Yes," Sarah admits. "A girl named Grace." "Cool, another cousin," Tommy says, then yawns. "Can we go back to bed now?" The simplicity of 8-year-old acceptance. But Emma's not done. "What about you and Dad? Are you getting divorced?" Sarah and I speak at the same time. "We're working through it." "I don't know." The kids look between us, and I see them calculating, aging in real time. The innocent childhood where parents are invincible and marriages are forever is ending right in front of me. Dad's upset I didn't tell him, Sarah says carefully. He has every right to be, but we love you all and that won't change. But everything else will, Emma says. It's not a question. Maybe, I admit. Probably. Tommy starts crying. I don't want things to change. I like our family how it is. Me too, buddy, I say, scooping him up. He's getting too big for this, but tonight he needs it. Me too. Can we sleep in here tonight? Julia asks. Like when there's thunderstorms? Sarah and I look at each other. The king-size bed that's hosted so many Sunday morning puppy piles, so many sick kid vigils, so many family movie nights. Now it's a battlefield, but our kids need us. Sure, Sarah says. They climb in between us, Tommy curled against me, Julia sprawled in the middle, Emma on Sarah's side, but watching me. A family held together by 3 small bodies who didn't ask for any of this. Tell us a story, Tommy requests, his traditional stalling tactic. What kind of story? I ask. A true one, about before we were born. So, I tell them about meeting their mother in college, how she tutored me in statistics and I taught her to ski, how we got married in her parents' backyard with Helen as maid of honor, radiant in lavender, no one knowing yet about her fertility struggles, how each of them was born, Emma during a snowstorm, Julia on the hottest day of summer, Tommy 3 weeks early because he couldn't wait to meet us. By the time I finish, Tommy and Julia are asleep. Emma's still awake, still watching. Dad? She whispers. Yeah? I wrote about this, for my college essay, about how families are complicated, but that's what makes them strong. You wrote about this? You didn't know about this. I wrote about secrets, how every family has them, how they're like cracks in a foundation. You can patch them or let them spread. What did you decide? That it depends on the secret and the foundation. 16 years old and already wiser than both her parents. Emma, I'm sorry you have to deal with this. I'm not, she says. Better to know the truth than live with lies. She closes her eyes, but I know she's not sleeping. None of us really are, except Tommy and Julia. We're all just lying here, feeling the fault lines spread beneath us, wondering if the foundation will hold. Sarah's hand finds mine across the sleeping bodies of our children. Not quite holding, just touching. A question more than a statement. The baby, Grace, chooses that moment to move. I feel it against Julia's back, the smallest flutter. Life asserting itself despite everything. Did you feel that? Sarah whispers. Yeah. She's real, Michael. She's real, and she's coming, and Helen needs her so much. I know. Can you forgive me? I don't know. And I don't. But I also don't let go of her hand. The DNA test kits arrive the next morning. Brown box, clinical white packages inside, 3 swabs, 3 futures. Emma takes hers without hesitation, swabbing her cheek like she's conducting her own AP bio experiment. Julia needs convincing. Why do we have to do this? She asks. Because Dad needs to know, Emma says before I can answer. Know what? That we're his. But we are his. Then the test will prove it, Emma says simply. Tommy thinks it's fun, pretends the swab is a dinosaur bone he's excavating. I try to match his enthusiasm, but my hands shake as I seal each envelope. 3 tests, 3 children, 18 years of fatherhood reduced to genetic markers. James drives me to the lab. You sure about this? I need to know. No, you don't. You know those kids are yours. Look at them. I thought I knew my wife, too. We overnight the tests, pay extra for rush processing. 48 hours for results. 48 hours of looking at my children and wondering if the doubt will disappear with scientific proof or linger forever like a scar. Sarah spends those 2 days at her mother's. Not a separation, she insists, just space. The kids shuttle between us like tiny ambassadors. Tommy brings me drawings. Julia bakes cookies she learned from Mom. Emma says nothing, but does her homework at the kitchen table where I can see her, keeping me company in silence. Helen calls 17 times. I don't answer. David texts. We need to talk about the financial agreement. Financial agreement. Like, this is a business transaction. Like, my wife's body is a rental property. The results arrive by email at 3:47 p.m. on a Thursday. I'm alone in my office when I open them. Emma Collins, probability of paternity, 99.99%. Julia Collins, probability of paternity, 99.99%. Thomas Collins, probability of paternity, 99.99%. My children, all three unquestionably mine. I forward the results to Sarah without comment. She calls immediately. I told you. You also told me you weren't pregnant. Michael, come home. Bring the kids. We need to talk about next steps. But next steps are decided for us 3 hours later when Sarah calls from the hospital. I'm bleeding. 2 words that change everything. I'm in the car before she finishes the sentence, calling James to pick up the kids from school, racing through red lights I'll probably get tickets for. The ER at Connecticut General is packed, but they take Sarah immediately. Pregnancy complications jump the line. I find her in a curtained area, Helen already there, both crying. How? I start to ask how Helen got here first, then remember. They track each other's locations. They've been synchronized for months while I lived in ignorance. The baby? I ask. Still has a heartbeat, Sarah says. But there's blood, too much blood. Dr. Martinez, the friend from college, the conspirator, arrives within minutes. She doesn't acknowledge me, focuses on Sarah. Subchorionic hemorrhage, she announces after an ultrasound. The placenta is partially detaching. English, Helen demands. The baby is at risk. We need to monitor closely. Complete bed rest. For how long? Sarah asks. Until delivery, ideally. Any activity could cause complete detachment. That's 3 months, I point out. Yes, Dr. Martinez says, finally looking at me. 3 months of bed rest, or we could lose the baby. Helen makes a sound like a wounded animal. David appears, I didn't even notice him arrive, and holds her. Whatever it takes, he says. Whatever it costs. We'll hire nurses, helpers, whatever Sarah needs. What Sarah needs, I say slowly, is her husband's support. Everyone looks at me. Michael, Sarah starts. No, everyone else has had their say for 2 years. Now it's mine. I look at Helen and David. This is what you wanted? My wife on bed rest for 3 months, missing Tommy's school play, Julia's soccer finals, Emma's college visits. We didn't know, Helen begins. You didn't care. You wanted a baby. Sarah offered her body. No one asked what it would cost our family. Mr. Collins, Dr. Martinez interjects. Your wife needs calm right now. Stress? You want to talk about stress? How about finding out your wife is pregnant with another couple's child? That's stress. The fetal monitor starts beeping rapidly. The baby's heart rate is climbing. Everyone out, Dr. Martinez orders. Except Mr. Collins. Helen protests, but David pulls her away. When we're alone, Dr. Martinez checks Sarah again. The bleeding has increased. We may need to deliver early. At 23 weeks? Sarah gasps. She won't survive. 23 weeks is viable with intervention. Barely, I say. I remember Tommy at 37 weeks, how fragile he was. 23 weeks is a different universe of risk. Sarah grabs my hand. First time she's reached for me in days. Michael, please. I know you're angry. You have every right. But this baby, Grace, she's innocent. She didn't ask for any of this. Neither did our kids. No, but they're safe. They're healthy. They have us. She squeezes harder. Grace only has this chance. If I don't do this, Helen might not survive losing her. That's not your responsibility. Isn't it? If you could save James's life by lying in bed for 3 months, wouldn't you? That's different. Why? Because he's your family and Helen's mine? The monitor shows another contraction. Sarah breathes through it, still holding my hand. She called your name, Dr. Martinez says quietly. During the worst of the bleeding, she called for you, not Helen. I look at my wife, pale against the hospital sheets, stomach slightly rounded with another family's hope. 3 months of bed rest, modified bed rest. She can get up for bathroom, shower, but otherwise horizontal. I'll do it, Sarah says. With or without you, Michael, but I'd rather with. The next hours blur. Admission to the high-risk pregnancy ward. Insurance arguments. Our insurance won't cover this since it's surrogacy. David writing checks that could buy a car. Helen pacing, praying, bargaining with a God she hasn't believed in since her 3rd miscarriage. I go home to get Sarah things. The kids are with James, but the house echoes with their absence. Tommy's drawing still on the fridge. Julia's soccer cleats by the door. Emma's college brochures spread on her desk. Columbia, Yale, Princeton. All close enough to come home weekends if needed. I pack Sarah's robe, her pillow that smells like her shampoo, the photo from our bedside, all 5 of us last Christmas before secrets grew like tumors. When I get back, Helen's in Sarah's room, holding her hand, both of them staring at the ultrasound screen. Grace, swimming in amniotic fluid, oblivious to the drama she's caused. She has Helen's nose, Sarah says. David's chin, Helen adds. They look at me, waiting for my contribution to this genetic inventory. She has a strong heartbeat, I offer. It's not forgiveness, but it's something. The next weeks develop a rhythm. I drive kids to school, go to work, visit Sarah at lunch, pick up kids, homework, dinner, hospital, until visiting hours end. Helen basically lives in Sarah's room. David and I develop an awkward detente in the hospital cafeteria. I didn't know, he says one day over terrible coffee, about the forgery. Helen told me you agreed. Would you have stopped it? No, he admits. We want this too much, but I would have insisted we do it legally. And if I'd said no, we'd have found another way. Helen's sister in California offered, but she's 43. Too risky. So Sarah was your best option. Sarah was our only option. 2 weeks into bed rest, our lawyer Thompson calls. The clinic is offering a settlement. They admit wrongdoing in accepting forged documents. $250,000. I don't want money. Then what do you want? I think about it. I want protection, legal documentation that Sarah has no parental rights or responsibilities to this child, that our children have no legal relationship to it, that once it's born, this is over. I'll draw up papers. The documents arrive the same day as Emma's early acceptance to Columbia. She opens the letter in Sarah's hospital room, all of us crowded around the bed. Full scholarship, she reads, voice shaking. Academic excellence grant. Sarah cries, happy tears for once. I'm so proud of you. I almost didn't apply, Emma admits. With everything happening, I thought about taking a gap year. Why? I ask. To help. With the kids, the baby, everything. No, Sarah and I say in unison. You go to Columbia, Sarah continues. You chase your dreams. This family drama is not your responsibility. But family takes care of family, Emma quotes her grandmother. Family also lets family fly, I counter. That night, after the kids are asleep, I sit in Sarah's hospital room. Helen's gone home for once, David insisting she needs real sleep. The bleeding is stopped, Sarah says. Dr. Martinez thinks we're past the danger point. Good. Michael, we need to talk about after. After. After Grace is born. After this is over. What happens to us? I don't know. The kids need to know. Emma's leaving for college thinking her parents might divorce. Are we divorcing? Sarah looks at the ultrasound picture taped to her bed rail. Grace at 26 weeks, clearly a baby now, not just a possibility. I don't want to. but I understand if you do. I don't want to either, but I don't know how to trust you again. Therapy? With what money? David's checks are going to Grace's medical bills. Then we figure it out ourselves, like we always have. We didn't figure this out. You went around me. Because I knew you'd say no. You don't know that. Michael, if I'd come to you 2 years ago and said Helen needs us to have her baby, what would you have said? I think about it. Really think. 2 years ago, Tommy was 6, just starting school. Julia was 10, still climbing into our bed during thunderstorms. Emma was 14, all braces and ambition. I'd have said our family comes first. And I'd have agreed. But then Helen took those pills. David called me from the hospital at 3 a.m. She'd written a note, Michael, about how David deserved a wife who could give him children, how she was broken, defective, worthless. I know it's not true, but she believed it, and I could help. My body could do what hers couldn't. Your body, your choice. But it's our marriage, our family. That should have been our choice, too. Sarah nods. You're right. I was wrong. I was so wrong, and I'm sorry. But I can't undo it. Grace exists. In 7 weeks, she'll be born. And then we see who we are on the other side. The labor starts at 34 weeks. Not ideal, but viable. I'm at work when Sarah calls. It's happening. I meet them at the hospital. Sarah, Helen, David, Margaret. The whole conspiracy reconvened for the finale. Dr. Martinez is already there, prepping for a C-section. The placenta never fully reattached, too risky for natural birth. You can come in, Sarah tells me, if you want. What about Helen? Only one support person in the OR. Helen looks at me, and for the first time, I see what this cost her too. Watching another woman carry what she couldn't. Living with the guilt of destroying her sister's marriage for her own dreams. You should be there, I tell her. No, Helen says. Sarah needs you. She's always needed you. I just borrowed her for a while. It's not an apology, but it's acknowledgement. The OR is cold, bright, surgical. Sarah's arms are strapped down, curtain at her chest. I sit by her head, hold her hand while Dr. Martinez works. You came, Sarah whispers. We don't leave, I say, the words surprising me. Even when we're angry, even when we're hurt, we don't leave. Is that true? I'm here, aren't I? The surgery is quick, 20 minutes from cut to baby. Grace arrives screaming, all 4 pounds of her, tiny but fierce. She's perfect, Dr. Martinez announces. 10 fingers, 10 toes, excellent lungs. They hold her up briefly, red, wrinkled, beautiful in that ugly newborn way, then whisk her to the NICU team. Is she okay? Sarah asks. She's fine, just needs a little help breathing. Helen appears as they are closing Sarah up, tears streaming. Thank you both. Go with her, Sarah says. Go with Grace. Helen kisses Sarah's forehead, looks at me. I'm sorry for all of it, but also grateful. You'll never know how grateful. She follows the NICU team out, David behind her, new parents chasing their miracle. Sarah's moved to recovery, groggy from medication. I call the kids, let them know their mom is okay, their cousin is born. Can we see her? Tommy asks. Soon, buddy. Is she ours or Aunt Helen's? She's Aunt Helen's. Good, he says. We already have enough kids. 8-year-old wisdom. The next days are careful choreography. Helen and David practically live in the NICU. Sarah pumps breast milk that Helen feeds to Grace. Our kids visit, peer through glass at their cousin who caused so much chaos. She's so small, Julia observes. You were smaller, I tell her. 5 weeks early, 4 pounds 2 ounces. But I was yours, Julia says. Yes, you were ours. Emma takes photos with her phone, already documenting. For my senior project, she explains, about complicated families. We're certainly that, I agree. Grace goes home after 2 weeks. Helen and David send photos constantly. First bath, first outfit, first everything. Sarah cries at each one, hormones and emotions tangled. "Do you regret it?" I ask one night. "No. Look how happy they are." That's not what I asked. I regret lying. I regret hurting you. But giving Helen this gift? No. I'd do it again. Even knowing what it cost, because I know what it gave them. The legal papers are signed a month after birth. Sarah has no parental rights. Grace is legally Helen and David's. The adoption is finalized in family court, Judge Brennan presiding. "This is an unusual case," she says. "Surrogacy done wrong, but with right intentions. I'm approving this adoption with conditions. She mandates family therapy, 6 months minimum. Sarah and I, the kids, even Helen and David. Secrets are cancer to families," Judge Brennan says. "Heal this properly, or it will metastasize." Dr. Kumar, our therapist, is younger than expected, maybe 40, with kind eyes and too many degrees on her wall. "Let's start with Tommy," she suggests in our first family session. "Tommy, how do you feel about Grace?" "She's loud," he says, "but babies are loud. I was loud." "You still are," Julia adds. "How do you feel about what your mom did?" Dr. Kumar asks. Tommy thinks. "Mom helped Aunt Helen, like when I share my lunch with Marcus because his mom forgets sometimes." "It's more complicated than that," Emma interjects. "Is it?" Dr. Kumar asks. "Or do we make it complicated? Over weeks we excavate the damage. Julia's fear will divorce. Emma's anger at being lied to. Tommy's confusion about why everyone's upset when a baby is supposed to be happy. My sessions are harder. You feel betrayed, Dr. Kumar observes. Wouldn't you? I'd feel exactly what you feel, but what do you want to feel? I want to trust my wife again. Then we work toward that. Sarah's sessions reveal her own pain, the weight of the secret, the fear of losing me, the physical toll of carrying a baby she'd never raise. I dream about her sometimes, Sarah admits. Grace, wonder if she'll look like Helen or David. She looks like both, I tell her. Helen's eyes, David's chin, but also herself. 3 months after the birth, we attempt normal. Sarah returns to teaching. I stop sleeping in the guest room. The kids stop walking on eggshells. Helen brings Grace to Tommy's birthday party. Awkward doesn't begin to cover it. But Tommy's thrilled to show off his cousin, and that matters more than adult discomfort. She grabbed my finger, he announces proudly.